Yes.
One
So,
important thing that I'm actually looking up for is the CDS views.
okay, CDS views.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I'm sure that in an ABAP for HANA ABAP on S4 HANA is especially having lot um, functionalities and
Yes,
capabilities.
yes,
So that's the
yes.
reason. Yeah.
Okay. So, Madhvi, we will discuss the first point is the difference, what the actual difference come up with the HANA system. Okay. And then we will discuss the major topics that are evolved with the new system. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Just
Mm-hmm.
let me know once you are able to see that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Just give me a second. I'm accessing my document. So it's visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so let's get started with the major couple of point differences between the both of the systems,
Mm-hmm.
ECC and HANA, S4 HANA. Okay, so as of we all know that the premises difference are there. The ECC was only available for the on-premise hardware-based system. When S4 HANA we do have a feasibility of the cloud subscription base as well. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and there were at the cloud side, SAP also providing the cloud with a private cloud only for the particular customers. Apart from that, the private vendors are also available who are providing their cloud services for deploying the HANA system. Azure, Microsoft Azure, Amazon AWS, the Google Cloud are the three major players who are also providing the services. We can deploy our SAP system into their cloud as per our requirement, how much size and how much processing, how much process configurations that we need based on the subscription, we can rent out their services. Okay. The biggest difference between both the systems is the database. In ECC, generally, organizations had used the Oracle databases, which are RDBMS, Relation Database Management System or Architecture, DB2, MongoDB, these type of databases. That initially, most of the organizations, means almost all of the organizations have used with the ECC part. Now, S4 HANA becomes a combination of S4 is the business suite, HANA is the database. So that's the latest database that was introduced by SAP. The biggest difference is earlier RDBMS based database were not capable of doing the calculations of any memory based calculation. They are not capable of doing that. Example, if I have to do a simple calculation 2 plus 2, so earlier database were not capable of doing that, but HANA database is much capable of doing that kind of calculations. There's a reason, because in HANA DB they have introduced a specific server that's called as a ICME, in-memory computing engine. They used to call it a
Mm-hmm.
IMC. Yes.
No, please go ahead. I was actually just listening to
Oh,
it.
okay, okay, no problem. So that's a particular specific server into the database. There's a particular engine they have introduced. Because of this engine, in-memory computing engine, because they have increased the number of parallel processes into the database itself. So what ICME actually does, it leverages the each and every core of that particular process. That's how the calculations, the logical executions had increased the processing speed, or you can say the performance of the queries, performance of the logic, performance of the calculations. So that's why HANA is the most one of the most advanced database into the market. This is the one. This is the biggest difference into the database layer. If I say at the business suite layer, S4 HANA, that is the application layer, we can say that. So in S4 HANA, they have come up with a lot of technical changes. Like earlier, they don't have the Fiori launchpad. This is one of the biggest, if I say, as per the end user perspective. ECC don't have the feasibility of the Fiori launchpad and Fiori applications. After in ECC only can integrated, only can leverage for the Fiori applications once ECC get connected with the HANA DB. Only then the Fiori applications can be deployed onto that. Otherwise, ECC with Oracle database, that kind of feasibility we don't have. CDS, yes, CDS is the new part, core data services. OpenSQL statements. OpenSQL statements was also earlier was also there in ECC as well. But ECC in HANA system, along with the S4 HANA system, OpenSQL statements comes with the latest syntaxes for the ABAP programming language. Along with open syntax and the CDS, one more object is there, that is AMDP. ABAP Managed Database Procedures. They are the three types of objects which are introduced with the HANA database, that is OpenSQL, CDS and AMDP. All three type of objects categories belongs to the top-down approach. The top-down approach exactly is we are pushing our calculation to the database layer. There are two type of approaches, bottom-up and top-down. Bottom-up means we are fetching the data into the application layer. Example that you had to write a select query in SC38 program, and you had fetch 500 line items and record into your internal table, and after the looping process onto that looping internal table, you are doing some calculation whatsoever. This is the bottom-up approach. You are fetching the data, doing the calculation onto the application layer, and presenting the data into the visualization layer or as an output, whatever. Top-down approach is you are pushing your calculation into the database. Example, using the joins. Join is one of the best example. It could you can relate into the CDS. CDS also support joins. Open SQL also support the joins. So you, with the help of the joins, we are providing the interconnection relation between the two or more database objects, which we call them as a table. So they can relate, they can correlate with each other with the help of the primary key combinations or without primary key combination also. I will tell you the reason why without primary key I'm saying. So we can fetch the data within the combination of two or more database tables, and the entire calculation would be taken place into the database layer. Now, it comes to the point why I'm saying that without primary key combination, because S4 HANA DB has introduced the columnar storage of data. In ECC, yes, in ECC, columnar storage was always there. And no, I will not say it was not there. If we see in SC11 database table, we do has a feasibility of changing the storage type. Either could be the row storage, either could be the columnar storage. But no one uses that. So we see that HANA comes up with a new architecture, columnar storage. But it was also available into the ECC as well. So that's how the primary key indexing and the secondary key indexing doesn't matter into the HANA DB, because in HANA system the all the table structure have been updated from raw storage to the columnar storage. So it doesn't matter whether we use the secondary indexing or not, because indexing is automatically taken care by the HANA artifacts for by upgrading them into the columnar storage. Okay. Now we discuss uh, the functional part. Functional part, yes, most of the business lines has been affected, because if I say you an example, MRP is one of the biggest. MRP, it's a process related to the manufacturing. So MRP is one of the oldest.
Goldie, can you
Yes.
just excuse me for a minute? I'll just have to take this call and then I'll just join back.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah, sure,
can,
sure. No
yeah.
problem. Just go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, I'm back. Sorry for that.
Okay, no problem. So let's come back to the artifacts that were introduced with the updated system. Initial RISE-F objects are already available into the latest systems. Okay. New objects were also introduced like CDS views, OData. Actually, OData comes under the NetWeaver, the gateway part. Gateway is also BRF plus. BRF was also there, but BRF plus with the advanced features they have come up with.
What
AMDP,
does BRF exactly mean?
yes, we will discuss that BRF also.
Okay, okay.
So Fiori, based on the NetWeaver gateway, Fiori Launchpad they have introduced, so that can be integrated with the OData services with the help of the NetWeaver gateway layer. The in material management and the finance and controlling, the two most um, complex tables they have introduced. For the material doc, mat doc, and for finance accounting document, doc. So these are the two complex tables they have introduced. The reason behind that, because in material doc, I will say first we'll discuss about the material management. There's a process of GR and IR, goods receipt and invoice receipt. So there's a table differences and the logical differences with, because of that, the entire quantity from end to end, from the PR to the Miro and Bigo, there's a calculation that every ABAPer needs to be calculate between the amount and between the quantity. So every time we need to write a specific logic for the different type of purchase orders. So for avoiding that, for helping the technical team, they have come up with the structure MATDoc. So everything need can be tracked from end to end, from transaction one PR to the transaction end Miro. So everything, all the documents can be tracked within a single alignment of the table structure. Same goes for the ACDOCA as well. ACDOCA table consists for both of the data, both of the processes, process as well as the sales and distribution process. Third part with the GL accounting as well, in the finance self processes. So these two tables are introduced into the S4HANA system. BP transaction. BP transaction is the most complex transaction they come up with the HANA system. BP was also available into the ECC, but that time it was not mandatory. In S4HANA, they come up with the solution, okay, we are going to obsolete the vendor transactions, vendor master transactions like XK01, XK02, and for customer XD01 and XD02. So they come up with the let's obsolete them, and BP would be the mandatory transaction for the customer master data and the vendor master data, as well as the financial suppliers or vendors. One more table along with its CDS view, they have come up with the in ECC the table was KONV. In HANA system, they have come up with the PR CDS elements. I had tried to find out the exact reason why they come up with this new table. All the KNV fields are available into the PRCD elements along with the new fields. So I'm still I had tried to find out what's the exact reason, but I don't know why they have come with the new fields. They can append the new fields into the itself into the KNV, and they had created the CDS view on top of that PRCDS elements. Okay. If we go for the migration side, in ECC, we do have a feasibility of using the LSMWs, BDCs, and BAPIs, the traditional approaches. We do have that kind of flexibility. In HANA system, in earlier versions of HANA, I'm talking about the 15.11 and 16.09 and 17.10 versions. So that time they come up with that tool that is rapid migration tool. Okay. So that tool was initially designed based on the WebDinPro application. Now the same tool is available, rapid migration tool, but it's not WebDinPro dependent. Now they have designed into the Fiori itself. So they have upgraded this tool as well with the latest 22.11. Recently, this month, they come up with the latest version of cloud version. So they come up with the Fiori based rapid migration tool. Okay. UI perspective. We do have a limitations of either we can use the GUI traditional approaches or the enterprise portal. Enterprise portal is the one of the module that was earlierly introduced by the SAP. Now we do have a flexibility of the launchpad, Fiori launchpad, which deploys the UI frame based applications onto the particular dedicated server for all the users. ATC, yes, ABAP test cockpit, the intro transaction was always there, but in HANA system they come up because we do have in migration activity, we need to migrate our data, we need to migrate our codes from the ECC to the S4HANA system. So they have upgraded the ATC with the new variants which are specific for the HANA database. These are the typical some of the differences one that we had tried to cover. Now let's get back to the CDS views, the most important topic. CDS view, as I told you, this is the one of the top-down approach that SAP had come up with for the HANA database. The reason behind top-down approach is for SAP is in earlier traditional reports. I will take an example of the report. As you see in the BW as well. So if I'm not wrong, you guys usually create the 3D models, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes what happens, you need to migrate the data from the OLTP to your OLAP layer, right?
Correct.
So HANA is HANA is the combination of OLTP plus OLAP layer. That's I
Correct.
think I will mention that point here also. So CDS, why they want to CDS as well. CDS is not the, and one more thing, CDS is database independent. You can run the same pay, you can utilize the same CDS onto the other databases also. It's not specific to HANA DB.
So
So
you're saying
they
that the
had
same
they
CDS extract of a logic will be applicable in different contexts. It can be applicable for an OLTP related table and it can be applicable for a BW related model also.
yes,
Okay.
same. So the main challenge was for SAP was the time, the performance of the objects. Performance of the objects, that was the biggest challenge. The second thing is the front end part, because the front end, the UI was not upgraded or modified from since the long duration. Since the long duration, by 1998 ECC was the first ECC first EHP one was introduced, and we are working in the 21st century to around 2014 and 2015. So they come up with a solution. Let's develop the new objects, new artifact who can work onto the both of the layers transaction OLTP as well as OLTP. So they come up with the solution of the core data services. Why I am saying the CDS is one of type of the views. In traditional SE11 transaction, we have seen the views. We can introduce the views, right? So views were always there. But CDS views, why they come up with the CDS views? So there is a difference between the traditional views and the CDS views. The biggest view difference is traditional views are not capable of doing any calculation.
Mhm. When you say
CDS,
traditional view, you mean the view that we create based on the tables?
yes, yes, correct.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah, SE11,
Yeah, SE11.
SE11 views. So they are not capable of doing any calculation.
Mm-hmm.
They are just, you can say, the join between the two tables, and on top of that they have created the temporary artifact that is called view.
Mm-hmm.
But CDS views are capable of doing the calculations. They are capable of establishing a relation with your two or more objects. Initially, yes, there was a limitation of CDS joins as well. Initially, they had limited the CDS to join only 6 tables at a time. Now they have increased the number, more than 50 tables we can join into the CDS view.
Got it.
Same goes for the open SQL statement as well. CDS, and only difference in CDS and open SQL statement is in open SQL statements you cannot use the associations. Associations comes up with a for cardinality functionality. So in CDS we can use the associations also.
So I would really like to know the distinction when we can use the CDS views, when we should be using the S11 views, and I
Okay.
mean the traditional views, and when we should
Yes.
be going ahead for open SQL statement.
Okay. I will tell you the real time example that I had discovered out. In SC38, if you go for write a single line code, select single statement with the two joins, the CDS is much more faster in comparison of AMDP and OpenSQL. The reason is, I will tell you the reason also. In database, they had defined a specific engine, that is SQL engine. They have come up with the new server along with the ICME. There is a one more engine is there, that is SQL engine. So what CDS does? So I will tell you, see why CDS is fast. Database never understand the open SQL statement. It only understands the native SQL.
Mm-hmm.
Database has a limitation. It only understands the native SQL. So open SQL will get converted into the native SQL, then the logic will push to the database layer. AMTPs directly cannot be executed. This is the reason. AMTPs directly cannot be executed onto the database. They need some interface, that is, if I directly go to this, there is a specific interface is introduced for the AMDP objects, that is IF marker HDB interface. So only using that interface, the AMDP objects can utilize the database power, database functionalities. But CDS doesn't need any dependency on the any interface or any conversions of their syntactical structure. So they directly interact with the SQL engine that is introduced into the HANA DB. That's why CDS is much more faster in comparison of SQL statements and AMDP. Yes, again, the discussion topic about the pros and cons. The cons also for CDS views. In CDS view, we do have a limitation. Return only one result set. We cannot expect the multiple result sets from the CDS views. It will
Okay.
return only one result set at a time.
Okay,
Now,
tell me one thing. When we say OData, in what
yes.
context we would use OData?
Okay. Open data protocol. The definition is open data protocol. And
So when we say this open data protocol, is this and the OpenSQL the same?
no,
Okay.
OpenSQL is completely different. OData is completely different. OpenSQL is the syntax of writing a program. Open OData is the technical architecture how to design a new artifact,
How to design a new
new artifact, new
artifact?
object.
New object. Okay, perfect.
Yes, it's a entire technical architecture, and OpenSQL is just a new programming syntaxes.
So OData is a complete end to end, and it's what do you say?
Object.
So OData is a complete end to end architecture that we can create,
Yes,
and
itself
it
an
is
architecture.
interfaceable with any plugin, plug out interfaces as such.
No, OData doesn't need any plugin plugouts. OData directly. Okay, I'll explain. So in HANA system, they comes up with the NetWeaver gateway. NetWeaver gateway is the window which establish a connection between the no with the SAP system with the known SAP world, and the base of that NetWeaver gateway is the XML and the JSON. Okay, so based on this XML architecture and the JSON architecture, NetWeaver gateway has been established into the S/4HANA system. So what does OData do? Example, OData is the architecture which provides, it's a REST-based application. It provides the REST-based architecture, represents the representational state transfer protocol based architecture. Okay, so actually, how REST works? REST has a capability of doing the all the four operations at a single point of time. Or four operations means CRUD operations. CRUD may, if I say CRUD means C for create, R for read, U for update, D for delete. There are four basic operations that are within a single instance. All the four operations can be executed at a single given point of time. So that's how REST architectures will get work into the market or in other technologies also. OData architecture is based on the REST architecture. So OData has a capability of receiving the data, of sending the data at the same time, of deleting the data or updating the data at the same time.
Okay, just I wanted to understand that OData is, I mean, it can speak to any third party tools, or is it open interface? And I mean, can we
Yes,
integrate a third party thing through an OData into our SAP application?
yes, we can do that.
Okay.
So by again, why they come up with the NetWeaver layer? They have to reduce the dependency of PIPO server. Proxies, if you remember, right? Proxy classes that we use to develop. So why they want to
Okay, so
reduce?
you are saying that even in OData interface, if you have to transfer or exchange the data between two different systems, you have to develop a proxy between them.
You have to develop a
Proxy between them.
No, in OData that is not required. I was
In
just
O
saying,
data that okay.
I was just giving the reference why
Okay, okay.
OData was come up into the picture.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was saying that they are reducing the dependency on the PIPO server, so the directly
Oh,
system will get
okay.
connected with the known SAP world. So no need to develop or no need to set up a new architecture, and there will be the no middle layer. So they have completely wiped out the middle layer that initially we will use the PIPO server.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
now,
Because that's what I was coming to. So does this mean that the PIPO is obsolete in S4 HANA?
no, it's not obsolete. It's optional.
It's optional. Okay. At times, if you feel the need of developing a proxy to exchange the data between two different systems, you can still use it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
The technology, the earlier entire SAP architecture and the products and applications are available into the S/4HANA itself.
Mhm.
But most of the things are now become optional.
Hmm.
Yes.
Got it.
So nowadays, ABAPers, ABAP development consultants, so they are also le- taking the leverage of learning the new things like OData theory and CDS. So these type of things. So they will directly work with the front end team. So instead of going with the route of PI proxies, and that's the third, the middle layer part that was not required right now. So we can directly work with the front end part, or with the another system also. If it's a known SAP system, we can provide the data and we can receive the data.
Okay, one more thing I wanted to ask is like as far
Yes.
as the BW for HANA and ABAP for S4 integration is concerned, and what are the typical customization ABAP for HANA customizations that are utilized for a BW development? Anything that you have an idea on?
I had just I had little bit idea, but
Mhm.
I can't give you the whole picture. Just a overview I can share with you.
Mhm.
So CDS are the capable models of providing the different type of architectures. So
Mhm.
there are different type of architecture means CDS had a capability of making an architecture like consumption CDS views. With the type of CDS views, interface CDS views, consumption CDS views. So the multiple CDS views, multiple database tables, multiple views can be merged together for the and development of VDM, that is virtual data model. And as far as I know, VDMs can be utilized directly into the BWBI, right?
Can you please repeat that last point, please?
Yeah, I know about that VDMs, virtual data models. So virtual data models are applicable in BW engine as well, right?
Yes, yes, yes. See,
So,
actually, that's what that's what I was coming to. What I could
oh,
actually see is CDS views are extensively used as far as the BW for HANA developments are concerned. But
okay.
apart from that, I saw some AOM. So please correct if this is my confusion probably. So CDS views are completely different, but it uses the AMDP scripts to uh, AMDP language in order to do the coding in the CDS views. Is that understanding correct?
No,
Okay.
AMDP is totally different object. CDS view is totally different objects. Yes,
So
it's up to you. If you want to utilize AMDP in CDS view, it's up to you. We can do that.
okay, I would like to look into specific scenarios where we could use specifically that.
Okay. Uh, that thing is, I need to
That's
develop a specific program for you in that case.
that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. For actual technical demo into the system, that I need to develop a particular design for you. Okay. As of now, I can say that CDS views. My BIBW team in my organization, they are also level. They are asking us to create the CDS views. So they will generate the VDMs on top of that, and they are leveraging that into
When
their
would you
engine.
use AMDP? That is the question. I'm a little bit confused hence asking this question.
Yeah, can you please come up again?
When would you use the AMDP?
AMDPs, yes. When we will use the AMDP, when we have to fetch the billions of records from the database.
So in that particular scenario, CDS rules won't help.
In this particular,
When you have to extract billions and billions of records from the table, source tables, in that
uh,
case, CDS view won't help. You have to use only AMDP.
no, you cannot use directly AMDPs. There's some interface that you need to develop to leverage the AMDP. Only then we can access the power of that. Hello?
When
There's little bit
confusing,
background
yeah.
noise. So hello?
Yeah, sorry, actually, you just have to give me 2 minutes. Is this still okay? Because there is, I'm
Madhvi,
reaching back. Yeah.
actually I'm unable to hear the background, lots of background noise.
Okay.
I think it's better. You can go ahead.
Yeah, is this better now? Sorry,
Yeah,
actually, I was,
yes,
yeah.
it's
So,
better. Yeah.
actually, I'm a little bit confused in terms of, when to use CDS views and when to use AMDP. So I think it will come
Okay,
up with a
okay,
little
no problem. Let me give you another
lots of
example.
time. If you could just,
Yes, I will give
okay.
you another example. So, if you remember in SC38 program, when we develop a program, simple report, okay? So, we do have a feasibility of you creating function modules, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yes. And we do have a feasibility of creating the class objects, class and method, right?
Uh-huh.
So, now the difference is both of the objects are used in system to reduce the redundancy of code. So we don't need to write a same code again and again. Correct?
Yes.
That's the basic architecture. Why we use the class and function modules. So that's
That's right,
how
because we can use the same class for multiple functionalities. I mean,
multiple
yeah,
times. Yes, and
yeah,
same function modules multiple times.
correct.
Correct. So they have come up with the three pros. Initially, that time S4 HANA business layer was not introduced. They only come up with the HANA database. So what happened? We need to leverage the power of the HANA database into the ECC system. That time they come up with the external database procedures. EDP was the object. That time they have they have come up with the object that is EDP. So with the help
Mm-hmm.
of EDP, we can directly extract the data from the database layer. So then S4HANA version was business suite comes up into the market. So they have converted that EDP into the AMDPs and get it connected with the ABAP team. They get it for the ABAP team as well. Otherwise, the only the database team, database developers will fetch the data from the with the help of external EDPs, and they will share data with the ABAP layer. So they need to write the combination. That is the one part. AMDP is a totally different thing. CDS, they come up with the views only for the modeling purpose, not for the ABAP development. Initially, views were developed, that is external views, EVs. They were developed only because business suite layer was not introduced, and we are leveraging directly data from the HANA database. So they come up, CDS were introduced later part.
Mm.
Initially, the modeling for using the modeling of the data in BDI BW. So they come up with the solution E views, that is external views.
Got it.
AMDPs were introduced for the ABAP team, views were introduced for the modeling team.
Got it.
So a ABAPer or a database developer or technical consultants no need to develop the two architecture, the four type of different objects into the same system. So they have converted their EDPs and E views into the AMDPs and CDS views. So all the members can develop AMDPs, all the developers can develop CDS views, and OpenSQL, yes, that's a simple latest version of syntax. OpenSQL is the latest version of syntax. So they come up with the solution. Okay, ABAPers will also leverage the power of HANA database because we had provided the OLTP. Modeling team BIBW engine will also use the both the objects with the help of with the help of VDM models, with the help of CDS, with the help of AMDP, because the OLAP layer was also merged into that. I think it might be something helpful for you.
Yeah, it gave me at least the context now.
Okay.
Sorry for the background noise. Actually, I'm way back home.
Okay. Okay. Oh, no problem, Abhi, no problem.
I think you gave a very brief, good context. Can you just give me a 5 minute glimpse on how this particular ABAP or HANA project would exactly look like?
How
How is this a particular ABAP for HANA project would look like? One of them.
ABAP on HANA project?
ABAP
Yes.
for HANA, for HANA.
ABAP for HANA. ABAP on HANA, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So you are asking about the implementation project, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Because I want to
Okay.
get a complete context of it. I mean, I want to get the hands-on on all these scenarios that we discussed, so that it helps me developing much better applications on the, you take much better decisions on the BI layer.
Okay. So as an ABAP consultant, I would say regarding the implementation side, so in ECC, yes, we do use the earlier implementation models like waterfall and ad hoc models. But in S4 HANA, they had come up with the two new architecture models, so we can the agile methodology and activate methodology. So activate is basically introduced by SAP itself, and agile is all over in the market. So activity depends on the again activate's methodology has an base of agile itself. So most of the organization in implementing they are using the agile model. That's from the management part that I am discussing about. And the implementation, from the implementation perspective, yes, there again the same stages are still into that the preparation phase, the blueprint, and the prepare and the development phase, the UAT part, and the hypercare part. So all the phases are still into the implementations. Yes, it's only for the greenfield implementation, not for the brownfield implementations. In brownfield implementations, so they have just purchased the new licenses, they are just migrating their existing code which was already available into the ECC. They are directly migrating the code and they are directly migrating their data into the new system. In bluefield implementation, there is that is the third part, bluefield implementations. So that's a hybrid model. Means hybrid model means database they are using the combination of the cloud as well, on premise, as well as the services are deployed, applications are deployed onto the cloud. So they're doing two activities. They are migrating their data, but they are not migrating their applications because they are using the cloud deployment for the applications. So their development are into the new stage in the Bluefield implementations. So that is the hybrid model. Organizations are also using that part also, but most of the organizations going with the greenfield from the scratch. They are just, that's because they are leveraging the time of 27 deadline. So we do have couple of years. We will revamp our old processes and we will come up with the new processes of line of businesses. So they are just leveraging that part also, and they are going for the greenfield implementation. Regarding the modeling perspective of the data, BIBW engine parts, yes. Uh, implementation that Fiori applications deployments are also integrated in BIBW, because that Fiori launchpad is become the only point of contact for the end users now, because the GUI is now, no one wants to access the GUI in an enterprise portal, and they don't want to use the third party tool as well, because of the introduction of the Fiori launchpad. So BIBW also, the analytical reports, the KPIs are available into the Fiori launchpad. So directly BW engine and BI part had been integrated with the Fiori launchpad. So that kind of so the single user can access the transactional data into the same port, same launchpad, and they can use the KPIs, they can use the modeling reports, they can leverage the intelligence power of the BW into the same part, rather than you going with the third party tool like if I'm not wrong, there's some power tool. What was that? I don't know. Power tool, something like that. So they don't want to use the third again because they had already powerful launchpad is there. So everything gets integrated into that. Hello.
Got it. So basically, an ABAP for HANA project would look like an integration of a lot of end-to-end ABAP for HANA project. How would it look like? What would be the different scenarios that can be covered?
Actually, I'm barely able to hear you. Can you please just type your question?
Sure,
I'll
sure.
I'll type, yeah. I'll reply onto the audio one. What all scenarios get covered? How does the ABAP for HANA project look alike? Okay. So perspective of the implementation side, all the projects are same actually. The only difference is the development of new type of objects as per the, because we have a new visualization layer, that is launchpad. I'll get into the ABAP for HANA, hence the question. Okay, no problem. So if you wanna go for the ABAP for HANA, then we you need to start from the latest syntaxes that are ABAP 7.5, which is the latest version of syntaxes. Then you have to go for the CDS views. Then you have to go for the OData and BRF plus. It's up to you if you want to go for the BRF plus, because that is only specific for the functional configurations. Yes, in taxation industry, finance industry, yes, that is BRF is one of the part. And if for the you are working for the TRM module, tax and revenue management, then BRF is the most important object. Then we need to develop the Adobe Forms. Adobe Forms, yes, as for HANA, because BRF only supports Adobe Forms. It doesn't support Smart Forms. So that kind of objects we need to taken care of. BOPF, Business Object Processing Framework, that is also come up with into the S4 HANA system. The Rapid Application Programming Development. So RAP is also there. That kind of development we need to take care of that. Again, if we are going for the cloud versions, the CAPM is there, Cloud Application Program Module. So they had changed the name of cloud to the BTP. So BTP is now the latest technology they have come up with the. So for deploying and development of the your front-end applications as well as the deployment of the or backend applications with the help of the CDS views. So RAP is the part that we can develop all only on the cloud side. The CAP is the thing, cloud application programming, as the rapid application programming development. So they are the aspect that different type of objects that we need to learn from the implementation, greenfield implementation side. I hope this will give you a clarity about how for learning track of ABAP for HANA. Okay. Okay, Madhvi, do you have any questions? Will I get project hands-on to work while you train? Madhvi, I can train you only on ABAP on HANA objects, not on the BIBW side. But you will guess you will get the project hands-on. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Marvin. Have a great weekend. It's Friday night, I know. So have a great weekend to all of you. Okay, Mohit.
Thank you and happy weekend. It was a great
Yes.
session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So Mohit, we are good for the day. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Thank
Good
you
night.
and
Good
happy
night,
weekend.
everyone.